Oh, there's Stonk.
Yeah. Can you guys hear me? Hello?
Yep.
Am
Wow,
I in a
loud.
wind tunnel or whatever the fuck?
You're not in a wind tunnel. It's better. You're a little quiet, but it's definitely better.
All right.
Big improvement. All right.
What I did.
Well, let's see. Maybe I can turn you up a little bit.
Or maybe you can hit the button.
I'm working on it. I'm trying to fix Stonkington's
There we go.
volume level. All right, here we go.
Good morning and welcome to another edition of Roadhouse Live. We are live. What is today? Today's September 8th, 2023. Last night kicked off the NFL season. We saw a fairly sloppy football game for those on time zones other than East Coast because you fell asleep in the middle of the third quarter because the world hates the East Coast. That's all I can really say. It's like there is a conspiracy against East Coasters when it comes to time zone. As far as our markets, we came down this morning, kind of wibble wobbled, maybe tested a low, kind of sort of maybe, got a little bounce. Appears like we want to offer some range in through here. We did have upside phantom prints on both SPY and Q in the 373 range on Q. Let's just call it 373.60, somewhere in there, and on SPY up to 446 ish, somewhere in there. We had some phantoms come in, which, usually when we see those, we kind of gravitate towards them. When those prints came in, we started doing the wibble wobble and basically, made a nice 60-point move off the bottom on the NQ. So that's where we are. They're running out of bad news to throw at us. They keep on trying to throw some Apple shit at us. There was an interesting conversation. It's like, look, if we're all being honest, wouldn't you have already assumed that government employees were not allowed to have iPhones at work in China? Wouldn't that have been a baseline assumption? Two, when you actually do the math as far as how meaningful that could be, isn't that just a little bit wonky? Or is this not just an excuse to sell off in some capacity with the biggest dog on the block going into a Fed announcement that is either going to set the markets hard and fast to the upside or burn it into the ground? Regardless, we are in or have been in a risk off type of environment. And here we are, Bender. We don't have a lot of data today. We do have a couple of Fed speakers that aren't going to really give us any indication as far as the overall markets and the ideology, except for that really smart guy yesterday, Bender, who said we still have more data to come out before we make a decision.
Yeah, that was great, wasn't it?
It's just like
we're going to get some more data in the future that's going to help us with our decisions. Like that was very insightful.
The whole Fed thing just drives me crazy, and it's like it just weighs on my mind. And I know I've said it before, Bender, but if you hire somebody to clear your property, and their idea of clearing your property is to drop a fucking nuke on your property and being like, "It's all cleared, man.
It's all cleared. We did what you asked for."
It's like, but that's not. But yeah, nothing can live here for the next fucking 50 years, asshole.
Take your car to a mechanic. It's not running. I need it to run, right? I have problems with my car. We fixed it. We set it on fire. Now you don't have a car anymore.
Yeah, see? Nothing to worry about. It's gone.
You don't have to worry about your issues.
Weird. And I think the last thing I'll say on it, and I keep on saying the last thing I'll say on it just because it drives me up the wall, if you hire somebody to do a job, right? And they get it wrong multiple times, don't you look to hire maybe somebody else to do the job? So if
Yeah,
you're
you typically
wrong,
fire them.
if you're wrong
Yeah.
about transitory, if you're wrong about the lagging data and blah blah blah, you're just wrong, 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 right? You're wrong. Are, how are you still in the job? And there's still people out there being like, it's like being, I think it might be like being a Cleveland Browns fans. If you support the Fed and you carry water for them, you're like, oh, they're doing the best they can. You are literally like a Cleveland Brown fan. You're never gonna win shit, never have won shit, never gonna win shit, but you're still over there being like, oh no, we're great. No, you fucking suck at everything. Everything. Cleveland, mistake by the lake. There you go, which is the federales. All right, Benner. So I did my little spiel talking about nothing. Hopefully, just if nothing else, I entertain myself. So I'm happy with that. I feel solid in my effort this
Feel
morning.
accomplished now?
I do. I did push-ups this morning. Took a shower, brushed my teeth. Had to go recover the wood because the storm came in and fucking blew all my tarp covers off all the wood. So now I'm irritated. Other than that, Bender, show us some charts. Tell us what we're doing. Tell us
All
how
right.
quickly we're going to get up to those phantom prints today.
Let's do it, man. That would be great. Yeah, let's talk about it. So what I've got, you'll see I'm using the actual September contract here because TradingView did the rollover switch contract. So now all the numbers are thrown off. By that, I mean, if you look at what TradingView is showing, if you're still using, the continuous contract, you'll see we're sitting at 45.04 on the September contract. 44.54.75 is where we currently sit. So everything I do this morning, I'm going to do it based on this September contract. So we'll continue to use the numbers,
Bender,
the price
they're saying
levels.
we're not YouTube streaming.
It says we're streaming.
Okay, well then you don't know what you're talking about.
It says there's 28 people watching it.
Oh, well, Julian, damn it. Pull it together.
All right. It's out there. The link should be pinned. Yeah, Julian, you're looking at the scheduled stream. Go to the live tab. Okay, sorry. Julian's on. All right.
Now we can begin because Julian's on. Julian?
Now Julian's on, so we can move forward. All right. For everybody that's not Julian, you can thank Julian for having to wait for us to move forward. Everybody, class, thank Julian. Okay. So anyway, we'll continue to use the same levels and values that we've been using. However, as you can see when I go over to the ES, some of my levels, I've tried to adjust them this morning, but some of them are off. They don't quite line up. The drawings don't quite line up where they were. So anyway, for anybody that's not using the September contract, if you're using the continuous contract, you'll just have to draw your own lines and adjust your values accordingly. So let's talk about what we did yesterday. We came down within a whisper of this low that we were watching, right? 44.33. Could not quite get it. Now, what I was talking about yesterday during the session, and I'm going to bring this chart into view real quick. Let's see. There we go. Isn't that? I look all stupid. Not showing all three charts there. Okay, let's do it this way. What in the hell is this thing doing? Well, I was going to try to show you all three charts side by side, the 15-minute time frame, but it's not cooperating. I keep trying to bring this other series of charts into view. Okay, here we go. Now you can see it. All right. So what we were kind of looking at yesterday. Oh my gosh, it's moving so slow. I'm trying here, Hells, and it's just not cooperating the way that.
Oh no, I was reading a fun fact. Did you know that when you eat honey, you should not use a metal spoon because it has enzymes in it. Or it has the contact kills some of the live enzymes that's in the honey. You should use, something other than a metal spoon in order to intake honey. Like if
I
you
can
were
say
looking for the health benefits.
I can say that I did not know this.
I didn't know this either. So no, you're doing just great. I'm catching up on
this is new information for me.
On some fun facts.
Okay. Now you can now it's kind of in view here. You can kind of see what I'm looking at. So you can see, and I know this is not ideal at the moment. Okay. And all these contracts obviously rolled over. Move this fib real quick. So what I was looking at is that here on the Dow, you can see this move. You can see where the midpoint comes in, that 50% level. It broke below that, right? And it also broke below this low from the 29th. So this line right here is actually supposed to be right there. So you can see it broke below that low from the 29th, came down below that 50% level and broke that low. And this was actually the fair value gap kind of right in here. If you compare that to the NQ, right? And this is kind of what we were looking at yesterday. If I take this fib to that same low. Yep. Okay. So those line up to that same low. Let's move this to the high right here. You can see it came down and just barely below that 50% level and then bounced, right? And it did not take its low from the 29th. So the Dow did, the NQ didn't. So there was divergence there. There was something that is not the same, right? And if I look at the ES, and we'll do the same thing. I'm going to take this to that same low, which is right here. The high. Like that, you can see the ES broke below that 50% level, but held 618, and it did not break the 29th, August 29th low either. So we had the Dow break it, the ES and NQ did not, right? So that's what I was trying to show. That's what I was trying to bring over, was kind of comparing those three. So now that we know that the Dow did, however, the ES did not, and Q did not break those lows from the 29th. Now we zoom in and we see on the 60-minute, we came down. Again, just a whisper of that low from the 29th there. Could not quite take it. So this is a key level here for today. If we were to go down, and now we've got this little, on the 60-minute, we got this little swing low right here, 44.43. The reason I show you all that is because if we break that low and we don't reclaim it pretty quick, we need to be watching for a break of 44.33 half. That's going to be the level right there if we do that, break below and then quickly reclaim it, make another candle higher, that would make me think that was the draw on liquidity there, and that's probably the low. However, if we get through it, we can't reclaim it pretty quickly. It becomes resistance. Then 44.23.25. And then you have kind of this whole grouping right in here that I would look for that to get taken out. And below that, then it just gets really, really messy. You got these lows down here, down here, you're talking another like 80 points total from where we're sitting right now. So now that we've shown that we don't want to take that August 29th low on two of the indices, right? We've only had one that has broken it. From a seasonality perspective, that's kind of what we look for going into September into October, is we look for a scenario where two of the indices make a lower low, or one of them makes a lower low and the other two do not, creating that divergence. Sometimes it's two of them create the lower low and one of them does not. That's kind of what we look for. Is this enough? I don't know, right? That remains to be seen. But the possibility exists. It's there. So as far as the ES, as far as potential downside goes, that's kind of what I would be looking for. Again, that 44.43 level being that swing low from so far from this morning. If that gives and isn't quickly reclaimed, then I think potential 44.33.75 and then 23.5. As far as upside goes, you can see that, so this box right here, kind of that Asia session, I have the seek and destroy potential up here because, as you can see from the price action that has occurred after the Asia session, it has taken, London session took the highs and took the lows, sets up seek and destroy potential. So what would that look like? Well, I think this gets confused, and I know I'm guilty of this, because seek and destroy doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be choppy, taking stops both ways. That can happen, but I think really, what it means is that London session took the highs and lows. It's possible for New York session to do the same, right? So if the lows get taken, really what that does is it opens the door to the possibility that the highs will also get taken, right? And some of the days that we've seen that have lined up this way, that have been potential seek and destroy type days, end up being trend days. But they typically take the London session high or low first, and then the real move starts, right? And then it goes and takes out the other side, and it just keeps going. And we're sitting there going, a lot of people are sitting there going, wait, it's seek and destroy day, right? The potential's there. It doesn't mean it will happen, but to be valid, all it means is that the New York session takes London session highs and London session lows. That makes a valid seek and destroy day. So it can get through this and then just keep going, right? So keep that in mind. With that said, the London session high, 44.69. Above that, this is the big one that matters right here. In order to get, I think, some momentum to the upside, is that 44.73.25. As we were talking about yesterday, when you have kind of these big candles, whether up or down, there's not a lot of resistance. If it decides to move up, there's not a lot of resistance in here because of the momentum at which that occurred. It wasn't a lot of two-sided action, right? When you get into this kind of stuff, that's where, that's when you're drawing lines going, okay, well, there's this here, and there's this here, and this here, and this here, and this, because there's stops on both sides, and so that's when you get more of that choppy action, right? But when you have these big candles, just like we had on the way up, they can, if it decides to go, it can fill those with relatively little resistance on the way back on the other side if it wants to. If you zoom into a 15-minute, you can see this kind of flat top area right in here. There's going to be a lot of stops above there if they decide to take it that way, right? So if we clear that London session high, I would start to look up here, 44.96. So that would, you know, you get through that London session high, 69.25, 44.69. Get through that, and my eyes are going to be up here. Now, knowing that this high exists right here at 73.25, I'll be watching for potential signs, you know, watching the 5-minute, looking for that potential that it gets through, comes back down, market structure shift, ultimately to go lower. I will keep that in mind. But if it gets through that, I would think the draw becomes 96. Then above 96, you got the whole round number, 4,500. And then the big level for stops all the way up at 45.2075. So that's kind of how I'm setting up the day, the levels that I'm going to be looking for early. You know, you can zoom into a 5-minute and look for potential market structure shifts, you know, going into the market open, the first part of the morning. We've got this 5-minute fair value gap in here. Let's see if we can get through that and attack that London session high. And if it can't, and we get that market structure shift, a couple candles down, leaves a fair value gap, trades up into it, potential short opportunity to target, first target being 43 and then 33.5, which is that low. And that's about all I got.
Thank you, Better. It's a really, really good walkthrough. Very good walkthrough. Stonkington, do you have a story for us? Do you have anything good for us?
Oh, that's right. Sorry. One more thing. And Sonny's not here. So one more thing for those that don't realize, I posted this last night, but the other thing that we look for, because next week is triple witching.
Ooh, triple witching and Frederick.
All the witches are in town.
We got witches.
There was potential for Thursday, late Thursday, early Friday, Pitbull low. So something else to keep in mind. All right, sorry. Go ahead, Stonkington.
All right. Hey, Pitbull. Everybody loves him.
No, I saw him in concert once, and it was not by choice. It was like a work event when I was at Microsoft. They had hosted it, and it was terrible. It was not good. They also made us watch Enrique Iglesias.
Are you sure?
He's terrible. Dude, he is terrible. It was like it was just him and like one other guy on the stage that seriously had like, it could have been a tape recorder. I don't know what it was that he was using to play the music. And it was just, he was drunk and he was just like stumbling around the stage, randomly pulling females on the stage, like doing shots of tequila. Like I was watching, it was just a train wreck. And I'm like, whose choice was it to hire this guy? Luckily they redeemed themselves and they had Timberlake was the closer, which was really good. But anyway, Enrique. Go. No Enrique.
Not a fan of Enrique. Good to know. Noted. All right, we got stuff today. Let's see, we got some smash burgers, but more importantly, we had a big ER last night, and I think that means it's time we go for some Prices Right. We had last night DocuSign.
Is it a flashlight? What the fuck is that?
That is a fancy ass fountain pen. And I think I'm listening to Price is Right at 2 times speed over there. All right. Yes, today on the docket, we've got the Mont Blanc fountain pen, patron of art homage, a Scipione Borghese limited edition 4810. That's a fancy pen. You can't be docu-signing without a pen. I think that's
you actually can. You don't need a pen.
I think that's kind of a point.
That's the point.
Oh, you guys saw through that one. Bateman's in. 35K.
What?
1,500.
Somebody has this pen, says Aggie Man. Well, then they should be getting this one right. 699 says Sooner. K-Merck's in at 3K. That's a fancy ass pen. Ooh, Freeman cucking Sooner comes back around. Wait, Sanders comes in at 2K, goes right down to $1.
All right, what do we got?
Yeah, but hang on a second. I'll go 1,200 just because it's like.
I'll go 1,201. How much is it?
I'll do 1,300.
I'll go 1,301. Okay.
Wow, so many people have never watched the show, apparently. We got a winner here. That's going to be Mr. K-Merck. There you go. You've earned yourself a picture of a pen. Well done, Mr. K-Merck.
How much?
Right.
Do you sign a DocuSign with a picture of a pen?
I think.
If so,
of course.
K-Mark,
There you
you
go.
win.
You won. Yeah, there you go. Frame it. 3,400.
Does anybody have a pen that's that expensive?
Actually,
No.
says we do. Somebody has it. That's a fancy pen. All right, let's get into the charts. We have the Smashburger, SPY and IW, or excuse me, not SPY. IWM and Qs have it. Basically, Qs we closed below prior day's low, so we'd be looking for that to be a false breakout. And looks like we are already above yesterday's high. So we'll get that alert right off the bat potentially. Or no, we're below. So we'll get an alert when we cross yesterday's high. But potential smash burger. If we jump over to the SPY, you can see we did not close below the prior day's low. So Larry would say that is technically not smash burger. But IWM, we did close below prior day's low. So failed breakout would be a break above yesterday's high. This is just a technical setup. Doesn't mean it's guaranteed to play out, but we have alerts that will let us know if it does. If we jump over to the NASDAQ, I've got also the September contract, kind of matching what Bender walked through. So here we have yellow, our daily fair value gaps. We can see this low to that high, this high to that low, and then we've got one open above. We've also got this daily volume imbalance that's still open up there. And then I've marked this as a key level below potential order block type. We see a lot of candles reacting to this level. So if this is a downside target and we cross through that, next would be looking for this reaction just below 15,000, which would be a nice round number. And then orange box way below, we've got a longer term, that would be a weekly fair value gap. That's going to be this low to that high. So that's going to be some of what I'm looking for today. The blue box there is going to be 4-hour fair value gap. That's this one, this high to that low right there. Have a little bit of a double bottom, some equal stops below. We'll see if we need to go grab that. See what we get on flow. And if we jump over to the Russell, I mentioned on the daily, this is, now we've got a pretty clear left shoulder head, right shoulder. We'll see I've got this key level marked below. If we break this 1847.30, this is had a lot of reactions, potential daily order block type of line there. We'll see what we get there. Above, we've got volume imbalance potentially with a daily fair value gap right above. So these could be some of our upside targets. I've got this 4-hour line marked there. That's potential order block. If we can cross through this 4-hour fair value gap, with the top of it being that 1867.90. Next, I'd be looking for the reaction there, and then we can get up potentially into these daily fair value gaps. But again, we've got this head and shoulders type look to it. Can even see again on the 4-hour, it's kind of janky looking, but left shoulder, right shoulder, head. So we'll see what we get here on the Russell. We also saw yesterday, I was posting in the room the calls on the TZA. There was a sweeper for today, which is the 3X bear small cap.
That chart looks like shit, man, on the daily and weekly, right?
It does. Yes, it does.
And I know that there's some pretty, interesting lines out to October on IWM. I know that for sure.
Yeah, I mean, and just in general, it's like when we were here and we're like, is this a new bull market? And then we're here and then we're like, is this a new bull market? And then we're here and we're like, oh, it's a new bull market. And now it's like, that's not really looking like a bull market anymore. We would have been looking maybe for pullbacks to here to go up more. So it's definitely not looking so hot over there. We'll see what we get. If we jump over to some individual tickers, I think Tesla is getting ready for something here. It's been daily inside bars for days. So let's check this out. Looks like we're just about to cross over. I had this 251.80. So if we can hold above that next, we've got a dark pool up there at 260.11. There might be something in here, maybe around there. 255 psychological round number. See if we get there. That could be maybe a stop or an area to just be aware of on our way up. If we start moving to the downside on Tesla, I'm going to be looking for the reaction to 245.95. We can see the importance of that level. Multiple reactions. It's been a historical key level. So we'll see what we get. I'll be calling those in the room. Check out AMD. AMD has been in this falling setup. It had a weekly inside bar. We originally popped it and then came back into the range. So above, these are pretty conservative triggers for AMD, but we can see 107.70. That's been a key level above, multiple reactions. Couldn't break and hold it yesterday. If we start pushing to the downside, I'm going to be watching 105 flat psychological round number with a lot of reactions as well. And that is all I have.
That's all he's got.
That's it.
All right. Let's see. Once again, I guess Hells has stepped away. He's making this a habit. I don't know what is every morning. What he's been sending me for the last week is gotta go help the lady. Be right back. He said this morning, lady needs help. Be right back. It's the same thing every morning. So with that, we got about 6 minutes till the open. Don't fuck this up. Remember, it's Friday, so don't screw up your weekend. You go making dumb decisions and bad trades and lose some money, and then you gotta mull that over all weekend. Like, damn it, why the hell did I do that? Don't do that. Don't do that. Stay green. For those of you in Discord, I'll see you in a few minutes. And for everyone else, see you on Monday. Have a good weekend. Peace.
See ya.